Hello, podcast listeners. We know podcasts are a great way to catch up on a program that you may have missed on KSJE, and it's provided as a free service of this radio station. But you know, KSJE is now listener-supported, and so while you enjoy this podcast, we hope that you'll also take some time to join KSJE. Become a member today. It's quite easy to do. Just go to our website at ksje.com/support and pick the level of support that best matches your budget. Thanks again for listening. Here's your podcast. 10 minutes past 8 o'clock. It is Wednesday morning, the 24th day of June, 2026. Good morning, everyone. I'm Scott Michlin. Thanks for tuning in to KSJE 90.9 FM over the airwaves right here in San Juan County, New Mexico. In Durango, Colorado, we broadcast at 103.3 FM. And if you're listening to my voice anywhere else on the planet, you've gone to our website to do that, streaming all the time at ksje.com, or maybe you're listening through the KSJE radio app, or perhaps you've asked your smart speaker to play KSJE. It is great to have you with us this morning, everybody. Also, welcome to our viewers who are watching me right now. The video of this program is streaming out live to the KSJE Facebook page and also to our YouTube channel. So we're glad that you are with us this morning, because coming up, we are talking about the Four Corners Regional Airport and talking with the new manager of the Four Corners Regional Airport. He has been on the job for a few months. We're going to get some update on some of the plans going on at the airport, how commercial flights are going, and some of the future plans for the airport. So stay tuned for that conversation. It starts in the next few moments right here on KSJE this morning. Then, of course, Mick Hess will take over the studio next hour with our classical music program, Roving with the Arts. That gets underway at 9:06. Wednesdays, of course, means a special 90-minute version of the show to take us to 10:30. And right on Four Corners, our local and regional author program. Delcherie Spinner this week is speaking with author Mark Pletz about his latest book, Kelly, A Tale of Old Ireland, as you can guess from the pictures on the screen right there. So stay tuned for that, coming up today at 10:30 on KSJE. If you're a social media type person, you can also connect with KSJE on our Instagram page, Blue Sky, X, in addition to Facebook and YouTube. And a reminder that KSJE publishes podcasts almost every day. You'll find them wherever you listen to podcasts, so subscribe and maybe discover a new local program that you may have missed. Or better yet, download the KSJE radio app. You'll have access to our podcasts, listen live, and much, much more. It's available at the App Store and on Google Play, the KSJE radio app. Outside our studios at San Juan College this morning, it is 72 degrees at the moment. We're expecting a partly sunny day today, maybe a chance of a thunderstorm popping up this afternoon. Today's high a bit cooler, though, 85 in Farmington. More chances for rain starting tonight, 50% chance with a low of 66. Tomorrow, 50% chance of rain on Thursday with a high of 86 tomorrow, and maybe some more showers Thursday night with a low of 65 before things dry out. Sunshine in the forecast for Friday with a high of 87 degrees. And an overnight low of 62 before the winds pick back up. I'll be back with my guest, Four Corners Regional Airport Manager Jeremy Patton, right after this on KSJE. In a medical emergency, stroke, heart attack, trauma, every minute matters. The decisions made in those first moments can change everything. San Juan Regional Medical Center offers advanced, comprehensive, definitive care. Available 24 hours a day for everyone in our community. When minutes matter, San Juan Regional Medical Center is here. Find out more at sanjuanregional.com. Featuring world-class conductor Andrew Litton and artistic director Vadim Gluzman in this year's 40th anniversary season. Music in the Mountains, July 9th through August 2nd, 2026. Find out more at musicinthemountains.com.
Now back to Studio A and the award-winning Scott Michlin Morning Program on KSJE.
Back in the studio this morning, as I mentioned, my guest today, the new manager of the Four Corners Regional Airport, Jeremy Patton, is here with me this morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you.
Thank you for coming in this morning. Been wanting to get you here to welcome you to the community and to KSJE and the job running the airport in Farmington. You come from Cortez, right? Where you were the airport manager there for a couple of years, right?
Correct. Yeah, I was there for about a little over 5 years.
Nice. And we were talking before we came on the air this morning a little bit about some of the differences between the two airports. Of course, Cortez is a small smaller community, but the airport has a few more flights because of the way it's structured with some federal monies and essential air service, basically, right? And Farmington's a little too big for that.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cortez is under the Essential Air Service Program, 100% subsidized, and so the operators there have a little more flexibility on and scalability with their flights, right?
Gotcha.
So we had service to Denver and Phoenix up there.
Very good, very good. But in Farmington, we have the return of commercial flights just over a year now, and we were talking a little bit before we came on the air too about how those are going. And I know you don't work for SkyWest.
Right.
You talk to them probably on a pretty regular basis, but
Right.
You are not the guy we call when our flight is delayed or something. That's not really in your purview, is it?
Right. Unless it's the airport's fault,
Yeah.
by all means, you can call us for any information. But
Sure.
But yeah, SkyWest is the operator of the United flights to Denver currently. It is a subsidized program as well, but through different means, right? So it's subsidized through federal, state, and local funds. And each year we apply for the continuation of those funds. And the current contract with SkyWest will expire and or be extended in May of 27.
Next year.
Yeah, next year.
Okay.
Right.
And so I guess the idea then that we always hear, which I think is correct, is kind of use it or lose it, right? So the more people that fly in and fill those flights, the better it looks to SkyWest to say the demand is there, the community wants us to be there, and the less that you have to use some of those other supplemental monies to pay SkyWest for serving the community. Is that kind of how it works?
Yeah. I mean, in a nutshell, that is a very accurate take on it. Again, there's a little risk with it, with how much we subsidize it. We subsidize basically the operations at what they may lose per month, and we are making sure that they stay in service. So the airline itself isn't going to pull out of it because of that.
Right.
But should, in case we weren't going to get awarded extra funding, and this is happening in other communities, if their demand isn't high enough, it's not worth, the risk of, and they get their funding pulled to offset that expense.
Right.
They got to strategize different ways. So we're in a really good position right now. Our load factors, are in the high 50s to 60%, but they, generally they're growing. And what our
And load factor means the number of the percentage of passengers on the flights every day, I guess, right?
Passengers using the flight to get on board the aircraft.
Okay.
So there's some strategic plays that we're working on to get people not just to leave Farmington and load the planes, but tourism and use of our community coming into Farmington for recreation and business,
Sure.
obviously. And if the airlines don't have a lot of discount inventory per se, how can we facilitate more marketing, more advertisement of the community, so that people come in and then get back on, right? So it's a symbiotic relationship that we're trying to work on,
Right.
And then in the future, just thinking big picture, air service development, with SkyWest and then other operators, should they be interested in operating out of here. There's a lot of need for Phoenix, Houston, Dallas we get a lot of requests for Albuquerque. It's a short hop, but currently with what we have, the service is doing very well.
Right.
We're doing the best with what we've got at the moment.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. That load factor of 50 to 60%, I mean, you'd probably like to see it higher, more like 70 or 80%,
70 and
wouldn't you?
80%,
Or is
yeah.
that where normal, I guess, passenger loads would be for some of these carriers?
Correct. Yeah, 70s to 80%, 80%. I mean, again, Cortez having the advantage of EAS and the numerous flights per day. They're only on 9-seat turboprops, so that's a
Right.
different animal altogether. But their load factors were well into the 90s, and on-time performance was phenomenal.
Well, that's what, 11 people or something, right?
Nine seats,
yeah,
right?
So, it's less, yeah.
that's a whole other conversation about certification of an airport
Right.
per the federal regulations. So, Farmington is what we call a Part 139 airport, which allows us to be more flexible and have jet service, have all the fire department. There's a lot of obligation to that, a lot of compliance. Again, there's a little bit of risk in that. So maintaining that compliance, maintaining that service is what my job is, and the sponsor, the city of our facility, to maintain, so that we can keep the service and build on it.
Sure.
Right?
Sure. And certainly, kudos to SkyWest, who I think had been working with the city, working with your predecessor for years to try to get this back, to figure out how to make it work, how to make it affordable for them and for the city, and to get all the pieces in place to put this back together over a year ago. I mean, I know they've been working on it for longer than a year, for sure.
Absolutely. We had essentially almost 8 years of,
Right.
maybe even 9 years of no service. That's pre-COVID, and COVID's not the main issue. It was a pilot,
That's right.
staffing issue,
Right.
And there's been a lot of ebb and flow in that discussion. COVID did have a huge impact on it, but again, it just had to pencil out, and that's what the work was done to pencil those numbers out, make it make sense, and make it feasible, and thankfully we have it.
Right.
We want to build on it.
Exactly. Right. And as we were talking, you were mentioning to me that no flight's ever been canceled out of the airport since commercial service restarted. There have certainly been some delays,
Sure.
whether it's mechanical or staffing issues or what have you. And again, you're not SkyWest, so I'm not going to ask you about some of those things. But I guess the scheduling, too, is kind of by design in that the flights out are early in the morning, so you get to Denver and can connect with much of the connecting flights leaving Denver, and the flights in are pretty late at night, 9:30 or so, so that when you're coming back, you can kind of get into Denver and still catch that last flight out to Farmington and not have to get here too early, I guess, or start your return trip too early.
Right. I mean, it's similar to, let's think of it like a hierarchy of needs. When an airline is planning, a service somewhere, especially if they're not already in there, they've got to, again, pencil it out, make it make sense. The schedule, the timing of connections is one thing. Denver, especially, the air traffic control operations being such one of the busiest airports in the world, has very strict windows to get in and out of there, so that's another variable. Weather here, especially, weather in Denver also, but especially in Farmington, we have short runways, we're at high elevation, density altitude is a big factor in performance of aircraft. So people that have flown have noticed they'll have you move seats, right? Like, hey, we're too front heavy, we're too aft heavy, we need some more here or there. There's a lot of moving pieces that maybe people aren't thinking about, where they place the baggage and how much baggage can they take. I mean, these are all factored into the schedule, but primarily I would even take it a step further that the SkyWest doesn't have a finite or has an infinite amount of aircraft. It's finite, right? So they have to mix this fleet of aircraft among other routes. Mm-hmm. This aircraft, goes to Denver in the morning, and then at night it comes back. But in between, it's doing several other connections in Wyoming, Utah. I mean, even the Northwest. And then we end up with the same aircraft that stays overnight, same crew. They get their rest period and they go out. So there's a lot of moving pieces that maybe we don't all.
No, for sure. Yeah, exactly. And so it's amazing to me. And again, I think that's another part of why the schedule works, is because that airplane is here from the night before. It's on the ground. The crew is in town, ready to go the morning of. And so those flights, I think, from folks who may remember before, sometimes a plane would be delayed getting here first thing in the morning, and that would cause a delay, and we know what that means for travelers. And so the fact the plane's already here, the crew's already here, it's usually ready to go on time, which is what you see in the stats, I think, right?
Yeah, and kudos to the staff of SkyWest. They're maybe have moved here. Same thing with TSA. I mean, to get this thing moving, it wasn't just SkyWest. I mean, the airport, was basically orchestrating a lot of moving pieces: compliance, TSA, so all your security, the fire regulations, the ground support equipment for this particular aircraft is more than what a turboprop would be, obviously. Laboratory services, and then the fixed-based operations, the Atlantic Aviation on the field, fueling and laboratory services, de-ice, So the staff is doing a lot of pull. There's a heavy lift to keep this thing going, and we've got a phenomenal group on both sides, TSA, airlines, and the FBO supporting this operation.
Right. That's great. And I guess now it's the community's turn.
Yes.
To also step up, right?
Right.
And,
that's the point. We all want to do better. We got here, but we're not done. It's like learning. Like pilots, you get your license.
Right.
You're not done learning. You got to keep moving. So we want to keep improving on this.
Sure.
On this situation.
And so I bet you hear a lot of times, well, this is great flights to Denver, but what about flights to, as you mentioned, some of the other destinations and things like that? Is that something you have conversations about
constantly
with SkyWest, or are there other carriers maybe that are interested in coming in and maybe under a different badge, a different major airline?
Yes to all of those questions. I mean, we're strategizing air service development. Obviously, we have marketing already ongoing. There's you'll see campaign ads going out, obviously, But there's a lot of coordination, not only in the city with SkyWest, but with our auxiliary, groups, Force Ed and Chamber. I mean, there's been a lot of, good collaboration and follow through. It's one thing to talk about something, but there's a lot of follow through happening right now. And for me, seeing that support and that community here is impressive. I'm from New Mexico originally, had left for a while, came back. I mean, the support is very impressive. And we intend to follow through on improving ground transportation. We got conversations about improving access to, car rentals, more not options essentially. I'll just
right.
Options.
Sure. Okay.
But also the shuttles, the hotel networks, hospitality groups, and local companies that may expand services to provide. That schedule has a big play in this.
Right.
That'll impact this feasibility. But whatever, all the ways we can do to increase usability and visitation to not just from Farmington, but also bringing them in.
Sure.
You can't do much without those services, right? So before we even talk about adding destinations, we're working on a lot of those logistical pieces that need to be
Gotcha.
in play.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, we get a lot of requests for Houston, Phoenix, Dallas, Albuquerque.
Right.
It's just, we've got to get those pieces in play.
Sure, that makes sense. Well, and again, you don't want to take passages away from the current flights either, I guess, by offering other destinations or things like that. You want to see that succeed as well. But I would imagine for some entrepreneur, if they wanted to make a few extra bucks, to be if they're an Uber driver or a Lyft driver, to be available at 4:30 in the morning or 9:30 at night to take people from hotels up to the airport or back. It might be a pretty lucrative gig once in a while.
Absolutely.
But I don't know. Maybe, what do I know about that? But that's just another thing. So that's part of what's going on. Part of your job too is managing the facility, managing the airport. There's some work, or there at least talk about work on the north side of the runway and the north side of the airport. Talk to me a little bit about that project.
Right. Yeah, and that's long before my time as well. I mean, there's been discussion about hangar development at least on the north side. But really, it's morphed into industrial complex, industrial park, and that can be the facilitation of hangars, corporate and private hangars. More services, maybe another fixed-based operation for fueling, and like a terminal area.
Right.
But with all the, and Farmington, historically, as everybody knows, has been in boom and bust cycles, right? So, there's ebb and flow there, but there's a lot of business investing in the area, local and regional, coming into the area, and so we want to help facilitate the expansion of that. And obviously that helps the airport from a revenue generation perspective of our facility, the city obviously, and the more impact and use of the economy in the local area. I mean, that kind of goes without saying. Now, access is our biggest challenge. So you getting access from 30th, off of Pinion Hills and 30th,
right,
in through the currently private development into the airport perimeter fence. There's a lot of moving pieces with that. We got to do airspace analysis, environmental study, archaeological studies, cultural resource surveys. But we have applied, and Warren Unsecker and several people in the city, we're working together on currently a $13 million application of federal and state dollars to get this project moving.
Nice.
Some momentum behind it.
Gotcha. And Warren Unsecker is, of course, the economic development director for the city of Farmington, so that would make sense. But there's a lot of property, I think, on that north side, and so folks may be wondering, what are they talking about? Because most people don't go to the north side of the airport. You can't go to the north side of the airport. There's really not much there, but it is prime for, I guess, development. It would be adjacent to the airfield, and so for companies or corporate customers or whatever, they would have access to the airfield and some of those amenities that they might want to fly in and out at times.
Absolutely.
That's what we're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest factors in that is, why do we need access on 30th? Is both the runways essentially, and they've extended one of them, but they go end to end on these mesas. So from an airport, function, security, and airspace, safety, we can't have access on the ends of the runways. You can't drive across there without approval. And so it's very controlled, very structured airspace and airfield. So it's essential that we come in from the north side.
Right.
And we have a lot of, currently, even with just within the airport boundary, there's a lot of untapped real estate right there.
Sure.
Back in the day, there used to be a northwest southeast runway. You can see some old maps that still show that, but for safety and airspace changes over the years, it had been taken away for obvious reasons. So what can we do with that land? And
Right.
This is a great project
Sure.
for that.
The city still owns significant property
Yes.
up there, so
Yep.
that's why you're looking into that as well. So that makes sense. That is another thing that I always like to tell people, or I think they're surprised to learn, when you look at other airports in the area, like the Durango Airport, that they have one runway, but Farmington has two runways, and I don't know if everyone understands that we have two here, and that gives you a little more flexibility, I guess, with weather conditions and things like that. Is that what that's kind of designed for?
Right. Weather's a primary factor in there,
Right.
obviously, and based aircraft, traffic operations. I mean, obviously things have changed over the years. Kind of, again, ebb and flow. But our primary runway is what they're based on headings, magnetic headings. So our primary runway is 725. So it's 070 one direction, 250 the other. So basically east-west.
Right.
Then the other one's offset a little bit, cantered. A lot of it due to geography, but because of the variation in the winds, a lot of times in the morning the wind's out of the northeast, so people 7 is the primary. They're departing into the wind. As the wind changes throughout the day, the cycles are occurring. 25 becomes one of the primary into the wind. Right, we always take off and land into the wind if able. So that other runway is very nice to have, and we do switch to it pretty often.
Right.
But our main use runway is 725, and that also has a lot to do with navigation resources. It's got an instrument landing system on it, more precise, navigation assistance coming in, which impacts our medevac, our cargo, our airlines,
Right.
even the student pilots, GA stuff. So, but it's a great facility that I think is underappreciated or not as well understood and not underutilized. So that's why we have a lot of flight training. That's continuing to grow, and there's several flight instructors on the field. We have our flight schools getting purchased by a new ownership. They're planning to add helicopters to the fleet mix to provide helicopter training. And then long-term vision is to get an education program based on the field, which is called Part 141. That allows them to work through a college, in this case.
Maybe this one.
San
Okay.
Juan, right?
All
That's the
right.
idea.
I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah.
Right.
Just thinking out loud, right?
Yeah. Right.
And what allows a flight school to do, instead of just doing generic, general operations where people are paying out of their own pocket, whether it's through their own means or whatever it is.
Sure.
141 schools have education programs, so they're using scholarships towards it. Veterans are using GI Bill towards it. So it just opens up so much.
Some more financial aid options, I guess, when you're
Absolutely.
using an existing institution.
Right.
Things like that. Nice.
So again, you can have you run one runway doing air traffic operations and have that other runway
Right.
assisting in that.
Yeah.
So
Very cool.
Yeah.
And so with that, you mentioned the flight school. I just want to make sure that's not a city business. That's a private business that rents space or leases space at the airport,
Correct.
but then provides other use and certainly activities at the airport.
Absolutely.
That's what you're talking
That is
about.
correct. 100%.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. Very interesting. And so with that being said, and we're talking about the two runways and things like that. You mentioned one of them has some automatic instrumentation and things like that. Does that mean that the airport literally could be open for landings and takeoffs 24 hours a day?
It already is. Yeah.
Is that how that works? You don't need to have tower people on duty, I guess, in the control tower there?
Yeah. There's radio communications. Air to air, air to ground. Controlled airspace is relevant from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Okay. Now we speak Zulu time, but that's the generic 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. And so when outside of that window, it converts down to still controlled airspace. Denver Center monitors it, but it kind of downgrades to pilots communicate on a common traffic advisory. They can turn on the lights with their radio. One runway stays on. But yeah, we have constant traffic, and especially medevac.
Right.
They use it all hours of the day.
Gotcha. And I guess I should say that's not unique to Four Corners Regional
Right.
Airport. All
That's
airports or most airports probably have that capability.
Right.
Got
Yeah,
it.
I mean, extremely busy airports. I mean, you're getting into, big airports. They're controlled and towered all the time. But Santa Fe, Farmington, what we call Class Delta airspace, which has a control tower, they're usually in effective hours. They're operating for a set time.
Right.
And in our case, they're contractors to the FAA.
Gotcha. And again, pilots are trained to know what channel to be on, how to talk to their fellow pilots if somebody else is planning to land at 2 in the morning, it'd be nice to know
Yep.
that someone else is out there and lining up behind you or in front of you or whatever it is, right? And that's
Absolutely.
all part of the pilot protocols, I guess.
And
of
same, not
of
just for
training.
pilots, but having the pilot background obviously helps, explain this. But
Right.
on the ground, our operations guys, there's only a set number of people that are allowed to operate out there on the field.
Sure.
And when say our staffer's out there at 4 in the morning, tower doesn't open until 6. He's got to use the radio just as much as a pilot does, so that he doesn't drive out onto the other runway or the intersection when a medevac is coming in. And sometimes, we may not hear each other. Someone has 1 decimal off, so it's just head on a swivel. You just keep your head on a swivel.
That's important.
Yeah.
Obviously. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Right.
very, very much so. Very much so. My guest this morning, Jeremy Patton, is here. He is the new manager of the Four Corners Regional Airport in Farmington. We were talking before we came on the air. You've been on the job now for
About 3 months.
About 3 months, and here you are on the radio. So I appreciate you coming on to talk with me a little bit about that. You've got, I would say, maybe somewhat big shoes to fill. I don't know. How do you feel about your predecessor there at the
Yeah, there was a
airport?
lot of good things done. I mean, it's 12 years that he spent at Farmington. There was, previous airport managers kind of came and went over the years before that. So for tenure, Mike did a lot of great things in that 12 years,
Right.
and with the support of the city, the federal government, state government. Some things that intended to be accomplished may not have been because of cost, right? And
Sure.
not having service. So the ultimate the vision to get that back was very important.
Right.
And he put that in place, was a key player in that before he retired.
Very good.
I think that
And
was one of his objectives, was to get it back before he retired.
I think you're right about
Kudos.
that, Mike
Yeah.
Lewis, and you had a chance, I think, kind of to work with him, a little overlap there when you took over.
Yeah, even
before he
yeah.
retired.
There was talk, on and off for a couple of years about him retiring, and he trying to convince me to consider taking it. I was always on the fence with it, and it worked out that it did. I put in my name in the hat last fall, and he finally said he's going to retire, and so I started contracting in the first few months of the year, and then went full time as I was transitioning. I gave Cortez several months
Sure.
to get somebody in, and I helped them get started, and then I started officially March 30th here.
Gotcha.
So,
Gotcha.
yeah, pretty smooth transition.
Good, very good.
Yep.
And so, just have a couple of minutes remaining this morning with you here. But some of your other goals or plans for the airport? I mean, what would you like to see besides what we've already talked about
Right.
up there? More commercial flights, maybe, or more other projects. What would you say?
Yeah, I mean, if I had to block it in or categorize it into a few main areas, from the administrative side, increasing staff and operations to help us, again, maintain compliance with the security, the fire, the airfield requirements. And then from, airfield, we've got the runway 725 rehabilitation happening this fall. We just went out to bid on that. We're working on the getting the grant agreements sent to us now.
And I
Applying-
guess pardon me for interrupting,
you're
but
good,
I was just
you're
going to say, I guess then one of the other benefits of having 2 runways, if you're rehabbing one,
Absolutely.
you just shift traffic to the other one, so you're not
Yes.
able to, you don't have to close the whole airport down.
It won't be as big of an impact. We will close everything for a few days as we get through that intersection piece,
Sure.
because our runways are intersecting.
Right.
But yeah, it'll have less impact.
Nice.
Overall. And then with this project, it's pretty intense. We're doing all the electric, all the runway edge lights, the navigational aids are getting replaced. There's some changes in ownership from the FAA to us maintaining certain nav aids. I mean, there's a lot of moving pieces there. We just went out again for on-call engineering, so we're getting ready to select another on-call engineer. That's a 5-year contract.
Okay.
So there's a lot of great things happening in the capital and infrastructure stuff. Future planning, just handling some of the deferred maintenance that again, because of cost and time, we're kind of delayed. Ramp improvements, hangar development. We got a couple private hangars being proposed on the field. So there's just, again, we can go on for a while about the potential here, but a big vision I have that I want to impress upon the community is that, and this comes with, some people complain about the noise. We get it. Flight training is increasing again.
Okay.
The use of the airport is growing. We're doing about 55,000 operations a year, takeoff and landings.
Right.
So I can't say that's going to go down. Ideally, what we want to capitalize on is the integration of these community programs with STEM programs, getting students and anybody really, but access to flight training, maintenance technician. We have a new maintenance operation on the field. A young guy is doing avionics, which is few
Okay.
and far in between. People are coming to him from all over the place for avionics work. but he's a flight instructor, mechanic, and if we can incorporate the flight instructors already on the field, the new owners of the flight school itself, integrating the campus or the college into this program, get a 141 going. We're feeding the pipeline with pilots, with mechanics. We have air traffic control on the field. We can do internships, airport operations, airport management, if anybody's interested in that. Not as beautiful.
You just got here.
Pilot, right?
Come on, who wants to come on?
Right.
Yeah.
So there's a ton of opportunity, and I
Nice.
think it takes everyone to make
Right.
this work.
Yeah,
Right.
very
See
much
the
so.
vision.
Very
Long term.
and you have it. It sounds like to me.
Just
So
got to maintain it.
that's great. And I guess that you talked about the employments or not the employments, but the takeoffs and landings. I guess
operations.
Operations. Thank you. And people would say, well, we only have one flight in and out every day, so how busy could it be? But that number, that 55,000, tells us it's a lot busy. The airport is very busy. That's more than the Durango airport. You were telling me, with all the commercial flights that they have, which is more than we do. Yet you have more flights in and out. It sounds like into Farmington because of private and business, commercial, medical, whatever it may be, freight, I suppose, too.
We
all
do
those things.
have a lot of freight here. Air medical, military.
Right.
A lot of transient military coming.
I see that
for touch and
Osprey
goes.
all the time, right? Coming in, doing touch and goes or whatever they do, right?
The Osprey. That's fun for our airfield operations guys.
I bet, right?
Immediately go and sweep after that, but I love that aircraft. It's an amazing aircraft.
It's pretty cool to see. But all those opportunities, right?
Yeah, they're using the airport, and I think we went our lowest. I can't remember what year it was, but around COVID-ish, we dropped into the 20s to low 30,000 operations per year.
Right.
And now we're encroaching back up into the 50s, and we're on par for about 55 this year.
55,000.
Yes, 55,000. And another thing that another variable people don't think about much, how our funding comes in is, yes, it's based on employments, it's based on the design group of our airport, what we're designed to facilitate. It's based on categories of aircraft, for instance. But another variable is based aircraft, how many based aircraft we have on our field. And on the database, there's about 130 or so aircraft based here at Farmington. The mix of aircraft and the number of based aircraft also now play into the funding we receive, because it's based on impact. Okay, well, in 3 years, will your runway degrade faster than, say, Cortez's or this other airport's runway in their design group? So they've changed some of the algorithms for funding, which is another reason to push for better facilities, fixing some of the older hangars, investing in our airport, and for the user-friendly aspect. But we're going to grow whether we like it or not. Things are changing whether you like it or not. So, can we facilitate that growth?
Right.
If we can't, then we've got to really dig deep and look at what we're missing, what challenges we have. Can we afford it? Is it worth it? Is the juice worth the squeeze? Right. But change is coming, and increased use is coming. Fuel changes are coming. Environmental requirements are changing.
Right.
Vertiports are going to start happening. Air taxis are coming.
What's a vertiport? I hadn't heard that before.
Think of air taxi like eVTOLs that are coming
like
out.
just
Electric taxis.
taking off and landing things.
So
Okay.
There's a lot of push for airports to get on the list of potential facilitation of vertiports.
Okay.
Right? It's not just helicopters. It's like the air taxi stuff.
Flying cars.
Yes,
maybe.
Essentially.
Okay.
The Jetsons.
Yeah, sure. Ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready for it. I'm here for it. So sign me up. There you go. But very exciting. Well, it sounds like a lot of cool things going on. Welcome to back to Farmington, back to New Mexico. Welcome to Farmington, and thanks for coming in to visit with me a little bit about your vision and the job it is of managing the airport. And good luck to you, and come back anytime.
I appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
You bet. Nice to see you. That is my guest, the new manager of the Four Corners Regional Airport, Jeremy Patton, here with me on KSJE. Did you enjoy that podcast? We hope that you did. And if you did, share it with your friends. And if you really want to keep podcasts like this coming, please support KSJE. You can do it easily online at ksje.com.